The universe is alive. Consciousness spreads throughout the cosmos down to the smallest atoms. Well, this is nothing new. The scientists, doctors and scientists, found that there is definitely an interconnection between the human mind through prayer, for example. We can even affect the moon, the stars, our earth, the sun. The actions of people and the thoughts of people do affect our earth. How our earth becomes healed or becomes sicker depends on our thoughts and our actions. The same thing happens with the sun. If the sun is in turmoil with solar flares and things that would harm our earth, we can change that with our prayers and thoughts towards the sun. This is nothing new. This is something that someone from the Old Testament knew of. Joshua, for example, when he needed hours to finish his conquest, the battle that they were having, he was talking to he was praying to God to stop the sun and the moon, to give him more hours during the day. Now, there's also a very nice website describing this, Heart Math, and I'll leave a link below for you. Interconnections have been found between the Earth and the Sun, lunar phases and their effects on life on Earth and Earth processes. There are also there's evidence of the connection between solar activity, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, weathers, and cycles on Earth, and also how our mind is interconnected with all these, how our emotions and our thoughts can ease all these things, all the extreme events that happen. Now, the universe could be teeming with consciousness, right down to some of the smallest particles would make up the cosmos, according to a professor's sensational claims. Well, this is nothing new, as we said. It's been evidenced. This by Sean Martin, Express UK. Consciousness is a very subjective experience. In itself, it's difficult to define. We know humans experience consciousness as we are aware of our surroundings. But for a dog, for example, is it conscious, or what levels of consciousness does it possess? Again, we know it's aware of its surroundings, but is it aware of its existence? I'm sure they do. I'm sure they are. And they also have love for each other. They have love for their offspring. They have love for us. They feel pain. They have consciousness in their own little souls. Now, the general consciousness is that as a life form gets simpler, it experiences less consciousness. Another question which continues to baffle experts is what exactly makes consciousness? Now, the scientists have not yet pinpointed where consciousness stems from within our brain, and that makes it a mystery for centuries. One expert feels that he now has a solution to this. He says that consciousness is in all forms of matter throughout the universe, all the way down to quarks and electrons, minute particles which are all around us and in the cosmos. We know that the universe is not empty space, it's not a vacuum, it is filled with electromagnetic forces. Now, it's a theory known as Panpsychism. Philosopher Dr. Philip Goff believes it's a way to define consciousness and include it in the scientific world. Panpsychism. The deputy director of philosophy at Durham University, who authored a new book, Galileo's Error: Foundations for a New Science of Consciousness, told Scientific American that the basic commitment is that the fundamental constituents of reality, perhaps electrons and quarks, have incredibly simple forms of experience. He says, it's at least coherent to pose that this continuum of consciousness, fading while never quite turning off, carries into inorganic matter, that is a desk, a piece of rock, okay? Even they can be organs, instruments of carrying this energy into inorganic matter, with fundamental particles having almost unimaginable simple forms of experience to reflect their incredibly simple nature. That's what panpsychists believe. Now, what this offers us is a beautifully simple, elegant way of integrating consciousness into our scientific worldview, of marrying what we know about ourselves from the inside and what science tells us about matter on the outside. Some experts believe consciousness and the universe are so intertwined that it allows our existence to continue after death. Yes, death doesn't stop our soul and our existence. And if anything, it somehow frees us. As our Lord Jesus Christ says, we become angels after that, if we believe in him, of course. There's a mystery having to do with the sacrament of death. Now, one physicist and mathematician believes our consciousness, our soul, reconnects with the greater infinite identity after death, meaning, of course, hopefully, returning to our home where we started from, the person who created our creator. He has our rooms ready for us. Now, former University of Oxford professor Peter Russell, author of The Global Brain, told Conscious Lifestyle magazine, it would seem that one way of understanding that it is the individual consciousness is dissolving back into the infinite consciousness. The consciousness that I experience has this individual limitation because it's functioning in the world through my body, through my nervous system, through my eyes and my ears. That's where our sense of being a unique individual comes from. When we begin to die and let go of our attachment to the body, consciousness lets go of that identity which it gained from its worldly functioning and reconnects with the greater infinite identity. And those who have had near-death experiences often report there seems to be this dissolving of the senses and a moving into the light. Everything becomes light after death. Well, not everything, because there are those who have somehow had near-death experience, or even have had death experiences. For example, I know of one report of a man who was doing this treadmill test, the heart stress test, and he died a couple of times doing that, and every time he kept on coming back. Of course, the doctors are always with you when you do that. He kept on asking the doctor, don't let me die, don't let me die. And when he came back, his whole life changed, because he kept on telling him, don't let me die, because he was ending up in hell. He knew he was ending up in hell, and not towards the light, which is Christ, of course. And the Son of Righteousness is not S-O-N, it's S-U-N. Oilios tis Dikaiosinis, the Son of Righteousness, meaning that Christ is the light of the world and not darkness. So people from near-death experiences have had various spiritual experiences having to do with what happens to the soul after the afterlife. Now, the researchers from the Max Planck Institute for Physics in Munich in Germany agree and state that the physical universe that we live in is only our perception, and once our physical bodies die, there is an infinite beyond. Dr. Hans-Peter Duhr, former head of the Max Planck Institute for Physics, said, what we consider the here and now, this world, is actually just a material level that is comprehensible. The beyond is an infinite reality that is much bigger, which this world is rooted in. In this way, our lives in this plane of existence are encompassed, surrounded by the afterworld already. The body dies, but the spiritual quantum field continues in this way. I am immortal. Yes, you are immortal. Your soul doesn't die. But the thing is, where will it end up? Will it be encompassed in God's kingdom, in His light, or will it be in the opposite? If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.